Good afternoon, everyone. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. I got my little socks on because my toes are cold. Other than that, absolutely perfect. Today, we're going to be talking about Storyline. I just finished chapter 12, and let me tell you, whoo boy, it was pretty good. I actually really enjoyed it. We're going to be talking about the primary storyline. We're going to be talking about the sideline storylines, kind of what my thoughts are on it, and what I'm really excited about. Things we're not going to talk about is what's coming in the future, spoilers for future storylines, and I would appreciate everybody not posting any spoilers in the comments down below. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dig in. So I haven't really known how to get into this video because my background, while I do have a background as an English major and I do love storytelling, I didn't know how to jump in because basically for War of the Visions, you love it, you hate it, everybody's kind of in between. It's a mobile game storyline. Like, how do you describe it? Where does it fall on the spectrum of Final Fantasies, right? I would say for a mobile game, it's a reasonably good storyline. I think next to Dimensions, it is probably my favorite mobile game storyline that I've ever played. Brave Exvius, for me, the original, felt extremely bloated and felt like it had a lot of classic tropes that, you know, we've kind of seen before and we would see over and over again in the storyline. War of the Visions brings with it a Game of Thrones-esque aspect that personally I really enjoy. I enjoy when you're following a mature plot line and not every single character is safe, right? In chapter 12, the most recent chapter, Valade literally gets one-shot bitten by Moraga, right? Like, you're literally like, what the fuck, right? And then you see, you know, snap later towards the end of chapter 12, you have Mont coming to a scene of what appears to be Lilith, Ramada, you know, Engelbert, Frederica, dead. I'm like, what? There's no way they killed off all those characters, right? But at the same time, I look at that Ramada VC and I'm like, holy shit, she looks like she's dead. Does anyone else think her helmet looks like someone rammed a spear through her chest? Because that's my first thought, and that was immediately when I was like, shit, that's why we're getting a Ramada VC. Ramada's fucking dying. Also, did you all notice in the storyline for chapter 12, they conveniently mentioned that Ramada had a sister named Moore who can read the stars as well. Interesting. I have no doubt we are going to meet that sister, and that sister may or may not be almost exactly like Ramada. Gosh, well, as much as the story is back and forth and a little bit nonsensical at times, you know, War of the Visions as the primary storyline does have its best and good moments, right? I think if you take out the aspect of how fast everybody can seem to travel across the continent and how kind of side characters get highlighted in a way that maybe they shouldn't, or maybe it's a comedic aspect that, you know, really isn't that funny, then yeah, I would say it's a reasonably good storyline. Now, in terms of characters, I think characters are where we kind of have to talk about, you know, being a little bit unreasonable, being a little bit almost moody at times. I'm dropping my earphones on you guys. Specifically, I love Mashery and I also hate Mashery, right? There's an aspect to Mashery that is almost dual-sided, right? She's incredibly, I would say, almost an agent in the plot line of, I would say, almost representing kind of like the counter image of the princess needing rescued, right? She is at times the strongest character in the whole storyline. And then there's the other aspect of it where sometimes it seems like she's miraculously shackled to these weird, I don't even know, like feminine tropes that keep reappearing. So while I'm not fully a feminist, I do feel like Mashery is an odd character. I almost feel like she needs to be two separate characters, or potentially, you know, lean one way or the other, because while she isn't your princesses in the castle, at the same time, she's literally the princess in the castle. So it seems like she is wrestling with kind of a character identity that's really complex, and I almost feel like they needed to flush Mashery out more to kind of explain just what she's thinking as a character. It seems a little bit weird. In terms of the whole Mont, Stern, Elda, I actually think that is a really good dynamic, and I do feel like, you know, as crazy as Stern might be, I do think it's at least reasonable with his armor. And I mean, he's kind of mad, right? Like, he literally just is nuts. So, I mean, that aspect's a little weird. I like Mont's character development. It reminds me a little bit of almost Cloud, where you do have this, like, to me, Mont is very tepid in the beginning of the game. He's very, you know, not out there. And now he's kind of grown as a character, and he's kind of embracing, I would say maybe his lordship of Leonis. And I'm really waiting for like a pinnacle moment where he kind of is dubbed the King of Leonis, right? Where we kind of see King Mont emerge and kind of take things over. Now, in terms of other aspects of the storyline and other characters, I think probably one of the best fleshed out characters and best representation of really good character design is probably Lady Helena, as well as potentially Sir O. Of course, Sir O, all of you know, is my favorite character, and the fact that Lady Helena has this depth to her and this sort of power as both a mother figure but also as this dangerous mage is like really cool. Like, I honestly can't wait for her to return to the storyline, because I just imagine she's going to shake things up in a way that is kind of unexpected, right? Sir O has that sort of mentor fatherly vibe with Stern. I like it. I like that depth. I feel like whenever the game dives into the Eastern Samurai, right? Whether that's Sir O or whether that's Seymour right now with Gilgamesh, I think whenever the Eastern Samurai make an appearance, the story is immediately interesting. And I think it's the nature of the Eastern Samurai being characters that do not follow like the flow of the game, right? It's almost like they are external to the political crises that are happening, and they're kind of there to either facilitate the character or facilitate the situation in need. And I'm really excited to see potentially more of the Eastern Samurai show up in the storyline. I'm excited to see more of Miranda. I'm excited to see more of all of them, just kind of how they influence and impact the storyline. Now, I can't talk about the storyline and not talk about Glaciella. I don't know what the hell Glaciella is doing. I think Glaciella is kind of in the same place that Mashery is, right? Where, like, on one side, she's like, I can go and take over this castle. But then, like, I think it's Minwoo that dies. And then it's all of a sudden like, oh no, Minwoo has died. I can't take over this castle anymore. Like, it's super weird. And then it's like, well, let's go find Mont, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like Glaciella, as cool of a character as she is, like, I feel like you could say that all of the leaders in War of the Visions are a little bit bonkers. You might even say that Curry is the only realistic leader out of all of them. I mean, you have Horn, who's literally like, Dario is dead, and the king is just like wandering around between Horn and Leonis. Ziza apparently betrayed Horn, but then is not a traitor, but is secretly a good guy, but then she dies, right? Like, what? It didn't feel like Ziza's betrayal did anything, right? Like, I don't know. There's some aspects of this storyline that I'm just like, maybe I need to wait and see where some of this goes. There's some aspects of this where I'm like, God, this is so good. And then there's aspects of this that I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are these characters behaving this way? Yeah, I would say that's pretty much kind of the sum of my approach to the War of the Visions storyline. Is like, this is really cool at times. Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck is happening? The side stories, I will say, have been mostly really good. I feel like Garvel's side story was not good. I did kind of skip through it while I was streaming, was not too interested in it. But the other side storylines are cool. Adelard's, of course, was probably my #1 favorite. Victoria and Luartha. Victoria, as you all know, is my favorite unit, and I'm a little bit disappointed by how much of a dick she is in War of the Visions. Like, I want a side story with Victoria and Luartha. I want just, like, more information on Luartha as a character, more information on Victoria as a character, because I feel like nobody's as big of a dick as Victoria. And it's really disappointing because she's my favorite character. So I just like when she first appeared, I was like, okay, maybe she's a good guy. Maybe she's like, you know, secretly evil, being good. But now I'm just like, she's a fucking dirtbag mercenary that just goes and like kills everybody whenever she shows up. Like, I bet you Victoria's kill count is higher than any other person in War of the Visions. Like, I bet you Victoria has been on screen when more units have died. You know, maybe not directly killing them, but I guarantee you she's been on screen when more units have died than any other story unit in the game. I just want her, you know, dead at this point, or I want to know her story. Gosh, is there anything else in the storyline that I'm excited about that I want to know? Gosh. I don't know. I'm just kind of looking forward to the future. I wish that the storyline would dive more into Gilgamesh. I'm sure it will. I wish it would dive into the Veritas of Light. I wish it would just do all of that, and I'm sure it's coming in the future. And please don't spoil it down in the comments down below if you are out there. Other than that, yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about the story. And I just finished chapter 12, and I just had to come talk about it because it was so funny to me that Valet just got eaten whole. Like, literally like chomp dead. Like, okay, Valet, we'll see you later. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to support me, you can use my affiliate link. We will be releasing probably a timeline video tomorrow. It might come out a little bit later than usual. So keep your eyes out for it. I'm trying to document the timeline between Global and where JP's at right now. And it's probably going to be a pretty long video. So look forward to it. And have a great rest of your day, everybody.